All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So Blackrock just unleashed a nuclear winter, sparking a Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and overall crypto price panic. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We're going to get into Solana. We're going to get into AVAX. We're talking about what's happening with Chainlink. We're talking about what's happening with Bitcoin, comparing retracements of the past. We're also getting into the XRP price chart. As always, comparing multiple charts, showing you guys what's happening in the market so you can be prepared for what to do next. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed. Comment 777 if you're feeling bullish for the crypto markets right now. It's been absolutely insane the past couple weeks. I mean, you see Chainlink up 33%, Solana up 43%, whereas XRP only sitting up 3%. So what gives? Why is XRP not moved yet? With all the bullish news taking place for Ripple as a company, the massive partnerships, why is XRP's price still suppressed? We're going to talk about all this in this video. So you know what to do. Take your putter, grab the like button, and just tap it in, give it a tibbity taparoo. We're sinking the putt. We're beating the SEC so we can buy grandma's house back with XRP. Let's run it. All right, so when we look at the total market cap of the industry, it's sitting at $1.42 trillion, still drastically undervalued compared to other markets. And the amount of money that's going to flow into the crypto market the next few years, guys, is going to be a tidal wave. So with 2 million, I don't know if this is correct, 2 million plus cryptocurrencies, that's absolutely insane. It's way too many cryptocurrencies. So I know you guys are wondering which altcoins, are the best altcoins to watch. Again, don't, buy them, don't sell anything. We're not going to tell you guys what to buy or what to sell. I'm just going to share with you what I'm bullish on. And if you guys want to see which projects we're the most bullish on, again, you can check out bullrunners.com, put in your best email address. You'll get instant access to our Telegram group, and you're going to see breaking news right when it comes out. And then also you're going to get early bird access to our financial education platform when that goes live and our top altcoin picks. So right here, let's compare the S&P 500 to Bitcoin, because people talk a lot about the correlation between, Bitcoin to gold or the stock market or, opposite of cash, right? The US dollar index. So when we look at the S&P 500, Bitcoin just recently decoupled from the S&P 500. When we saw Bitcoin break out, in October, middle of October this year, we saw the S&P 500 drop. And so as we see right here, it dropped about 6%, whereas Bitcoin broke out above, that $31,000 resistance right here. And so Bitcoin rallied over 40%, almost 50%. And so decoupling from the stock market is going to be a big thing over the next few years, because the stock market has, close to $100 trillion of valuation between all the markets together. And so when we look at the entire crypto market together, compare that to Bitcoin, Bitcoin only has $725 billion. So Bitcoin's not even $1 trillion yet. Bitcoin will go over $1 trillion. It's just a matter of when, not if. And if we see a back test of, 31K before we continue to the upside. But what I do want to show you guys is I want to show you in comparison to the past for Bitcoin, and then get into how this affects XRP towards the end of this video, and Bitcoin compared to XRP, and when XRP is rallied compared to Bitcoin. So let's look in the past, because when we draw the Fibonacci retracement from the all-time high to the low, we usually see a retracement upwards of 0.618. And so 0.618 right here in the past, when we go to the 2019 rally, we were between 0.618 and 0.702, closer to 618, before we saw a 72% correction. And the Black Swan event, COVID, drew Bitcoin all the way down to $3,000 something, like $3,800, 72%. Can you imagine that? Going all the way from $3,000 upwards of $14,000. Everyone, if you guys remember this, I vividly remember this. Everyone was the most bullish for Bitcoin again right here at this period. And when Bitcoin went all the way down for COVID, everyone was getting out of the markets because they were freaking out with the lockdowns and all of that stuff. So we saw a retracement of 618, crash of 72%, and then we started the bull market. Now, another key here to understand is you can see the 7th of May of 2020 was Bitcoin's halving. And so Bitcoin crashed into the halving, then Bitcoin halved, and then it took an extended period of time for Bitcoin to break out. We see it took about 160 days. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 30, 40, 50, 5 to 6 months. It took about 5 to 6 months after Bitcoin's halving for Bitcoin to break out, and Bitcoin crashed 72% going into the halving. So that's a key thing to note. Let's go back to the last cycle and let's see what happened here. And so from the high to the low, we see Bitcoin rally up right here, consolidate sideways, another push higher to exactly 618, and then crash 40% into Bitcoin's halving right here. You guys can see Bitcoin's halving was on the 9th of July, 2016. And then when Bitcoin halved, how long did it take after the halving for Bitcoin to really break out? I mean, it took about 160 days for Bitcoin to see another breakout upwards of $1,000. And so we see a trend happening here. The past couple times, Bitcoin from the high to the low, rallies up to the 618, crashes down into the halving, then takes about roughly 5 to 6 months after the halving to go out of here. Now, if we go back to the cycle before then, a lot of people don't like to compare this cycle from 2012 just because it was so new for Bitcoin. Like, you look at the chart and it looks pretty crazy. It looks like a new project, right? Because a lot of volatility, not a lot of day trading going on. But right here, you can see the halving in November of 2012. Bitcoin was crashing into the halving, and then it took an extended period of time after the halving for Bitcoin to really break out. It took about 50 days, so a little over a month. And so it's more comparable to the past two halvings. So if we were to give you guys a scenario here, anywhere between 40 and 72%, let's just say that. All right. So how much higher will Bitcoin go in the short term? Well, if we were to draw from the high of the year of 2021 to the low of 2022, a 618 retracement for Bitcoin would be at about $49,500. And so if we see Bitcoin, it doesn't mean that will happen right away, because as you guys know, if we go all the way back here, you saw something like this take place where Bitcoin rallied up right here, didn't even make it to 382, consolidated sideways for 200 plus days and then rallied out. But arguably, we could be more comparable to what's happening right here before the 40% correction because of how long Bitcoin was consolidating sideways in this range for almost 200 something days right here. So Bitcoin breaking out of $31,000, if we go upwards of $45,000, a 40% correction would bring Bitcoin back down to $29,500 and some odd dollars, give or take a few $100s. A 72% correction would actually bring Bitcoin all the way down to $13,800 some odd dollars. So it'd bring it down lower than here. That would be in conjunction with a black swan event. So if there's something that happens with a second pandemic, as Joe Biden said in my previous videos, guys, he says there's going to be another pandemic. He probably has his little ear things in for his speeches, and they were just like telling him some stuff, but he wasn't supposed to say that out loud. So who knows, guys? If there's another black swan event, you have to be prepared for that. So 40%, 72% correction, maybe the correction is less, maybe it's more. Nobody knows, okay? For me to sit here and tell you exactly what's going to happen with Bitcoin, I'd be lying to you. So I can only show you based on the past, and that allows you to make your own educated, degenerate decision right here, as you always do. So looking right here, Bitcoin rallying up. $49,000. How much further is that to the upside? And is it worth the risk to be buying Bitcoin right now? Is it worth the risk to be buying altcoins right now? Or is it not worth the risk to be getting in the markets at all? Because Bitcoin to push up to $49,000 is only another 33%. Is that worth it? Because if you put in, let's say $10,000 into Bitcoin, well, to push up another 33%, you would make $3,300 if Bitcoin were to do that, and you were to sell exactly at the peak if Bitcoin were to retrace at a 618 retracement. So for me, I did take some profits on Bitcoin, and I'm using Bitcoin to trade into altcoins. And during the past cycles, I realized that Bitcoin does not see as high of a percentage gains as other altcoins do, and other projects are going to see massive moves compared to Bitcoin. I mean, in the past 7 days, you see Bitcoin up 6%, whereas Solana's up 41%. Now, is it smart to be buying Solana right now when it's up 41%? Absolutely not. Solana is most likely going to retrace down, and I'll show you guys why on the RSI and other stuff as well too. But let's get into XRP, and then towards the end of this video, I'm going to compare XRP to Bitcoin side by side so you guys can be able to see exactly what's going on here. So looking back to the past cycle, the bear market, when we saw July 19th, all the way until November 20th, XRP was stuck within this range and it struggled to break out from roughly 30 something cents, 33 to 35 cents right here, until right here. In November, XRP broke all the way out, came back down, struggled to break out again, then broke out. Then we saw the massive bull run happen. We're seeing something somewhat similar happen for XRP, where arguably people could compare this post-lawsuit good news happening to what happened right here in November that was before the lawsuit. So pre-lawsuit and then post-lawsuit, XRP coming back down, falling within this range, struggling to break out from it. XRP coming back down, falling within this range, forming a double bottom, struggling to break out, and then XRP breaking out. So we could arguably be going through right here something like this for XRP, and that's contingent if Bitcoin breaks out higher. So for XRP this year, I'm not expecting anything too crazy to happen. I'm just expecting XRP to range within this macro symmetrical triangle right here. So sure, XRP could push upwards of 90 cents, consolidate right here, similar to what happened at this phase right here. And then if Bitcoin, pushes higher, XRP would push higher with the rest of the markets. But historically, XRP actually moves after Bitcoin by a long period of time. And I'll explain why and how long it'll take. And it might not be the best thing that people want to hear, but it's what people need to hear. As always, we give you guys the best to help you prepare for the worst, but sometimes telling you about the worst helps you prepare for the best as well too. So Bitcoin's stock to flow model, when you look right here, this compares the days until the next halving. And if we were to look at where Bitcoin is in terms of the stock to flow line, we're below the line. Bitcoin's line is about $51,000. So could this be where Bitcoin rallies up close to the line and then we see a sell-off going into the halving for Bitcoin? That's what I personally expect. I expect Bitcoin to rally upwards of 40,000 to 50 something thousand odd dollars. We see Bitcoin do something like this, and then we see the sell-off going into the halving for Bitcoin. Consolidation for an extended period of time for about 6 months, and then Bitcoin pushes higher about 5 months to 12 months after the halving, and for Bitcoin to break an all-time high in 2024. So if the halving is in April, right, May, June, July, August, September, October. So October to November of 2024 for Bitcoin to really start going and breaking its all-time high. So the good news, okay? I got bad news and I got good news for you, all right? What do you want first? The bad news? Okay, the bad news is that Bitcoin will see, a correction coming soon. The good news is, Bitcoin most likely will push a little bit higher in the short term. Some more bad news, which you can also see it as good news, is it'll usually take about 6 months after the halving for Bitcoin to see serious momentum for, phase 3 of the bull run. Phase 3 is the most parabolic of the bull run, as you guys can see right here in the past. After Bitcoin's halving, we saw Bitcoin pump upwards of 600%. And realistically, right here, what did Bitcoin rally for that 2019 phase 1? Only 300%. So the good news is the third phase of the bull run, the final phase of the bull run, is always the most parabolic. And so you guys have time to accumulate as much as you can possibly afford. Now, again, don't bet the family farm, on crypto, obviously. But when we look at the charts, this is showing us where we're at right now. So we compare right here in terms of days until the next halving. Look at the color. Right here, we're comparable to 2019, right? So sure, there's another push up in the short term, but when we go from blue to purple, what does it look like? It looks like a sell-off from blue to purple. Now let's look at the past cycle before 2019 and see what we're looking at right here, all right? Because it's real key to understand this stuff, guys. And I know that you're starting to understand this right now. Well, right here, from blue to purple, we saw a sell-off going from blue to purple. But when it turned purple, then we saw the rally right here. So that could be a wild card event where Bitcoin could push higher in the short term, something to note as well. But when we go from purple to red, or then from red to orange is when we really rally out of here. So let's look at the cycle before then, right? Blue to purple, we see a sell-off going from blue to purple. When we turn purple to red, consolidation, then from red to orange is when we see a rally out of there. So Bitcoin's halving is the main event that everyone's preparing for just because of supply and demand, scarcity, and all of that good stuff. And then altcoins is another thing that people are the most excited about because of percentage growth. But heed with caution here. Tread lightly, because looking at a project like Chainlink, well, look at the RSI. We're at 79 on the RSI. We were upwards of 85. So when we're this high on the RSI, it doesn't necessarily mean that we come down right away, because very similar to what happened back here, you guys see where we are right now on the right-hand side of the screen, sit at $15. Well, back in May of 2019, Chainlink was within this range, struggling to break out of this resistance for, extended period of time, for roughly 400 plus days right here, where it struggled to break out from about 60 cents. We look back here, Chainlink struggled to break out from $8.60 some cents for 500 plus days. Then when Chainlink finally did pop, it rallied about 240%. So when Chainlink finally did, break out from this range right here, it's rallied about 136%. So sure, Chainlink could push higher, and we just see the RSI getting closer to 100, but eventually there's going to be a correction. So for me, I'm not buying Chainlink right now. I would encourage you to watch Chainlink. It's going to be an amazing project, and I think Chainlink is going to push upwards of $100 this bull run cycle. So long term, you can't go wrong. But if you're looking for a good entry point, compare this to what happened right here. Right, we saw Chainlink rally up at 200 something percent. We saw the RSI push upwards of 89, almost 90, and then we saw this correction take place where Chainlink dropped 40% before seeing another rally, parabolic rally out of here. Upwards of $5.30. And then we saw the consolidation period going into Bitcoin's halving as well too. So the altcoins consolidate along with Bitcoin going into the halving. And so, July of 2019, let's see when did Bitcoin halve? Well, Bitcoin halved in May of 2020. So what was happening for Bitcoin in May of 2020? So let's go May of 2020. Yeah, what was happening for Chainlink, right? We saw this consolidation period for how long? I mean, Chainlink rallied upwards of $5.30, and it took another 370 days before anything to happen. So Chainlink was selling off going into the halving and then consolidating sideways on this macro market uptrend. So if I were to trace this up for you guys and show you, where we kind of are in this cycle, it could look something like this, where in the short term, I would expect most realistic case scenario for Chainlink to see a back test of the previous range that it consolidated sideways in for over 500 days, right? Because the longer the consolidation phase, where it just coils sideways, the bigger the spring, but also the likelihood of a back test is very high as well too. So for Chainlink to come back down between $9 and $10, that could happen. And so, but ultimately, I expect Chainlink to continue the uptrend leading upwards of $100 to $500. It's anyone's guess how high Chainlink could go. The partnerships that Chainlink is making is absolutely insane. So yes, I do. Quick disclaimer. Yes, I do hold Chainlink. I'm bullish on it. That doesn't mean you should buy it. That doesn't mean you should sell it. Do your own research, obviously. Another project that everyone is watching right now is Solana. Solana on the RSI is sitting at 87. So personally, I'm not buying more Solana right now. Arguably, what I'm doing is I actually sold. I took profit on some of my Solana, and I'm moving that into other projects like AVAX and on the AVAX ecosystem as well too, and other altcoins on Solana's ecosystem. Because the way that this works, guys, it's a rotation of money. It's a rotation of the tides, because currency, right, moves like the current of the sea. And so crypto is a form of currency. It's a form of money. So it flows like the ocean. And so where attention goes, energy flows. And crypto is fueled by attention. So people's attention has been drawn to Solana. And when Solana sees a retracement, people's attention are going to go to the other major projects. And so AVAX is another one of those. Ethereum as well too. Ethereum hasn't really seen a run. And I'll show you guys Ethereum in a little bit, because Ethereum struggled to break out from its resistance of roughly 2,000 some odd dollars, right? Even $2,100. So Ethereum needs to clear $2,130 and hold it as support, whereas Bitcoin broke that $31,600 range, and now Bitcoin is holding above the resistance as support, whereas Ethereum hasn't broken out yet. So I could expect some massive moves for Ethereum to take place relatively soon. And for Solana, when we compare AVAX to Solana, Solana to the all-time high is 340% away from the all-time high. So that's a 3.4x, whereas AVAX, Avalanche, is 707% away from the all-time high. And so we saw what happened here is we saw Solana break out from this descending resistance right here, and it rallied from $19 all the way upwards of $30 before seeing a retracement back down. Arguably we could be seeing the same thing happening for Avalanche, but Avalanche is trailing Solana because it's not as large of a market cap, it's not as popular right now, but mark my words, guys, watch this project over the next couple weeks. Again, doesn't mean you should buy it right now, because you look at the RSI, it's sitting at 88 on the RSI. Both of these projects are in drastically overbought territory. I mean, AVAX is the highest that it's been since right here, but look at the chart, how similar this could be to Solana. So we saw the first breakout for Solana take place, upwards of $31, and then it corrected all the way down here to $17. It crashed 47%. So if we were to do the same thing, crash 40 something percent, that could bring AVAX all the way down to $11 to $12. So if AVAX were to crash down to $11 to $12, if we were to see something like that happen, with Solana and the rest of the markets, then the next spring for this project, I would expect to be massively bullish as we continue the uptrend. Why? Because we broke out of this descending resistance, right? This falling wedge pattern right here to the upside. And so a likely case scenario could be a back test and then a spring from this back test right here. So this is how these charts move, right? When you understand how these charts move, then you guys know which projects to watch next. So keep a close eye on Avalanche. Now, what did Blackrock just do? Okay, Blackrock just did the unthinkable, because BlackRock just filed not only for their Bitcoin spot ETF, but they filed for an Ethereum spot ETF. So you guys know what happened with Bitcoin, when they filed for the Bitcoin ETF. All these other companies, Van Eck, Wisdom Tree, you got all these massive institutions now piling in. It's creating a domino effect to get approval from the SEC. So what do you think is going to happen with all these other companies for Ethereum? They're going to do the same thing, coming in hot off the heels of their landmark Bitcoin ETF application in June, right? It could kick a similar rush, right? They're saying it's a nuclear winter for everyone who doubted Ethereum. So let's look at the chart right here for Ethereum, because Bitcoin broke out. What did Bitcoin rally from the low of September 2023, when everyone thought that the market was going to go down further to like $19,000 or even all the way back down to the low of $15,000? Bitcoin did the exact opposite. I mean, Jim Cramer, the Wall Street clown, he said, Mr. Bitcoin is going to go down big. It's going down big. That's what he said. And what happened after that? Right after, Bitcoin went up big. So historically, it's funny, you just do the opposite of that guy and your portfolio is going to look good. So he's a paid shill to scare people from doing whatever they need to do to get wealthy. So the wealthy can get wealthy. So Bitcoin rallied up over 50%. What about Ethereum? So we look here, Ethereum from October, it's only rallied up 30%, almost 40%, 39%. So for Ethereum to break out for these ETFs with these other companies, I would expect Ethereum to start to push upwards of $2,300 to $2,400 relatively soon. Now watch Ethereum, because when Ethereum starts to move, the rotation of money moves into Ethereum, then money starts to move into the Ethereum altcoins as well too. So AVAX and Ethereum altcoins to watch. And now looking at XRP compared to Bitcoin, so how long does it take for XRP to break out? Well, compared to the cycle of 2017, when Bitcoin went from $190 all the way upwards of almost $20,000, and XRP went from 0.00 whatever 3 upwards of almost $3. XRP was the showstopper, but it was brutal. Most people don't realize, the pain, the suffering, the patience that it took for over 800 days, XRP losing 91% of its value, whereas Bitcoin gained over 560%. Bitcoin pulled a 5x over 800 days, and XRP lost 91% of its value. All the Bitcoin bulls were ragging on the rest of the market in XRP. They're like, Bitcoin's the superior project. Bitcoin's so much better. Whereas all the XRP bulls that were having to hold were just having to hold their tongue and just sit there and patiently hold as their portfolio was down 91%. Now, let me put this in perspective for you. Let's say you bought XRP December of 2014 at about 2 cents, 0.0027, and you had to wait 800 days. If you just held to the all-time high, you would have been up 11,600%. 11,600%. So what is that, 1,000x? I mean, that's freaking insane. So Bitcoin, if you were to buy Bitcoin right here and you were to held to the all-time high, you would have been up 4,800%. So XRP outperformed Bitcoin by multiples. So patience pays long-term. Now, does that mean that XRP will do something similar? It'll take 800 days for it to break out? No, absolutely not. But mentally, you have to be prepared for that to happen. You have to be prepared for the next 2 years to be the most brutal, frustrating, patience building, teaching you some different type of emotions that you have to go through as an investor. 2 years of your life. You have to be ready for that, because when XRP does spring, it doesn't move like Bitcoin. It doesn't just grind up, 20% correction, grind up, 30% correction, grind up, 20% move up, 40%. It doesn't do that. XRP just kind of like chills for a bit. It just hangs out, and then it pops and it springs really fast. Case in point, if you're looking back here, what happened pre-lawsuit? I mean, XRP wasn't really doing anything. Then all of a sudden, boom, it shot up like 200 something percent. And then boom, it crashed, then boom, it shot up, then boom, it crashed. So when XRP moves, it moves really fast. How long did it take for XRP to go from this consolidation period, right, to breaking out? It took about 217 days, give or take a few days with my math here. But from 23 cents to the high, it took less than a month to go up 1,000%, another 10x. And so less than a month. When it moves fast, and you just got to be ready, right? You got to be ready. And so when we see XRP, do something like that, let's say XRP stays range bound for an extended period of time, even let's say it sees a sell off and then it just kind of like consolidates here for the next 2 years, then all of a sudden, Bitcoin is getting ready to go on the final stage of the bull run. Then XRP starts to move, then consolidates. And then we all of a sudden see XRP spring upwards of, $5 to $10 relatively quick. What I would expect is a spring for XRP, just boom, break through the all-time high, just boom, real quick. I would expect something like that to happen. Just crush through that all-time high, go into price discovery, could go upwards of $5, maybe $10, and then boom, crash back down, retest the all-time high, and then consolidate sideways for maybe 200 days. And then boom, one final blow off top for XRP. And who knows how high that could go? That could go between $15 to $30. That's what I would expect for XRP. And then for it to, come back down and see something similar to what happened for the 2018 to 2020 bear market correction. But I'm not expecting it to break out relatively soon. So what I am doing is I'm focusing on earning more passive income so I could just keep accumulating more. Set it and forget it. When in doubt, zoom out. The patience that it's going to take to be able to make money in this markets, guys, is key. But also, we're about to launch our financial education platform to help you guys make money, and we're going to have a wide variety of different opportunities for you guys, and whichever one is going to suit you best, and then also a lot of education as well too to help you guys understand these markets from a macro perspective. When we start comparing stuff like precious metals, the stock market, different commodities and crypto, and then also helping business owners in different areas, you guys are going to figure out what works best for you, and then you'll be able to capitalize on that to make money, because opportunity is endless in these markets right now. And regardless of a black swan event, a second pandemic happening, well, that's going to make more millionaires and billionaires than ever before. So I see some comments where people are like, he's so excited for a crash. Absolutely, because I can back up my truck all the way to the bank, grab the bags, pack them and stack them for the dip, leaving no bags left behind, because we believe that the spending power of the dollar is going down in value. That's a fact based on inflation. Blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, and cryptocurrencies are going up in interest. That's the truth. And together, we're going camping, where, on the beaches of the moon. So I'll see you on the next video. I will see you guys on BULLRUNNERS.com, where you'll discover our best ways to make money online. If you have no previous crypto trading experience, all you got to do, go to BULLRUNNERS, link in the description, click the button, put in your best email address. It's free to subscribe. You're going to get these notifications right away sent to your inbox before the YouTube algorithm can push them out to you. Guys, and if you would have been in our Telegram group, which you get access to on the other side, you would have caught AVAX before this breakout that's happening right now. And so plug in there, check it out. I know you guys are going to love it. As always, I'll see you on the next one. Stay bullish.